This is Anna Imagination. This podcast is not a conspiracy. Hypnosis. Hypnosis. I don't approve of hypnosis. I have been like, stay away from it for a long time because I know the subconscious mind and I know what hypnosis does to it. And I'm going, yeah, don't touch hypnosis. So hypnosis is literally when you insert a amnesic decoy. You're putting an amnesia decoy. You are planting an amnesia decoy inside of the mind to divert a topic. Literally, you're cutting out a piece of your logical story and you are putting it in the fourth perspective or the fourth level of the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind has a kind of closet where you store all of the dirt of yourself so that you can't find it out. It's really fucking dangerous. When you put shit in your closet, that causes mental illness. Hypnosis is the process of conducting a cut and shuffle out of your logical story and then dropping it into that closet. That way you can't look at it, but it literally obstructs your story. Don't do it. Hypnosis is the dumbest fucking thing. I've talked to people who've done it and they literally boast, oh yeah, and then they don't even remember that they even had a problem. Yeah, because you fucked up their story. So don't fuck with this shit. You are literally doing surgery on a story and you need your entire story to function. You're putting a logical block inside of your mind on purpose. So your brain does this intuitively to protect itself. It's a self-preservation mechanism. Hypnosis does it literally on purpose to bypass. It's the same process, except it's not being done with self-preservation, it's tampering. So you're tampering with a process, really fucking stupid shit and really dangerous. So a great example of witnessing what happens if you tamper with this, watch the show House. House's head, Wilson's heart. It's a two-part episode. Watch it. You get to see what happens when you fuck around and you mess up hypnosis. So that being said, I'm looking at how they would have done it, and I realized hypnosis. They're using hypnosis. That's exactly how they would do it. It would be embedded in our language. That's exactly how you do it. You embed it in the language. Subliminally. You would use a subliminal message. We're reading it. Stop chanting in Latin. You don't speak Latin. You have no idea what you're saying. Don't fucking chant in Latin. It's a subliminal message that they embedded inside of the Bible, which is why the math language was embedded there for the Ashavana. Because the Ashavana would know. And I did. We all felt it. There's like a whole group of us going, Bible doesn't feel right. Yeah, you're feeling the literal cursing and the manipulation inside of it that's tampering with it. I stopped reading it. I started translating it instead. I would have. Yeah, I stopped reading it and I started translating it. So it didn't work. Oh, I was 8 when I stopped reading it. And I started translating it. But when you memorize it, have you ever wondered what they did for 60 years behind closed doors at the Council of Nicaea? Because I did. I'm like, Interesting. Why did they do that behind closed doors and in secret for 60 years? What were they doing? They already had a Christian religion. Why did they feel the need to create the Nicene Christian code and then put this massive slaughter anyone who doesn't read this book? Guys, it was a fucking spell. But you don't know what the ancient Greek language was, so let me explain. The Romans were terrified of the ancient Greek language because they believed it was prophetic. It is. The ancient Greek language is an actual, it's spell work. You can't speak and read ancient Greek without putting it all over the place. There are certain Greek words I read, and as soon as I read them, I got my memory back. And I went, whoa, whoa, this is weird. There's a couple words that when I read them, I had memories come back and I went, this is awesome. It's why I'm so much more advanced than the majority of people is because I'm reading ancient Greek. Here's the catch. You have to read it the right way. Only the Ashavana can read it right way. The ancient Greek language reads back and forth. So you have to make sure that you reverse it. The word philosophy is backwards and it's also in Arabic. But you also have to read Old Persian as well. You also need to read Akkadian and Sumerian. And you also should really read Old Norse, Futhark, Elder and Younger Futhark, as well as Old Irish. Ironically, these are all the languages that I've been studying all of my life. So my memory was not as affected as everybody else's. This is really, really fascinating. Now, if we're all sitting around, walking around, quoting all of this crap, we're actually passing down the subliminal messages to each other because we're fucking reading the goddamn thing. That's why it was written in Latin. Now, Tyndale, you guys don't know about Tyndale. You didn't study history the right way. So you're all studying about this guy named Martin Luther in the 1500s. I was studying John. John, was his name John or was it Thomas? Tyndale, okay? Tyndale was the dude who said, you know what we should do? We should have the Bible written in English. Oh, that pissed off the church. So he translated the Bible into English. A thing had just come out around that time called the printing press. So while Gutenberg decided to print his 4 Bibles, Tyndale went, I'm going to do it in English. And he did. He used the printing press to translate the Bible in English. And then he sat there and handed it around. And people went, this is not what the priest told me on Sunday. And they're like, no, it's not. And that blew everything up. And Martin Luther went, oh yeah, I'm totally reading a revolution. And he led this massive movement and it created Lutheranism. And King James went, what do I do? In the meantime, Henry is over in England going, fuck this shit. I'm rewriting my laws so I can get married for the 9th time and kill my wife. So shit hit the fan in the 1500s. King James decided the best solution was to rewrite this piece of shit, and he decided to call it the King James Version. He hired a philosopher by the name of John Filmer, look him up, who created a little world called patriarchy. John Filmer wrote this whole thing on why the patriarchy exists, what it is, and why God is here, man is here, and women is here because of the patriarchy. That's John Filmer's work. And then King James, came along, took John's work and said, see, and it was absolutely this gorgeous method of him ramming it down our throats. Meanwhile, all of the garbage continued to flow down as it did for centuries upon centuries. But only if you get your dumbass to church on Sundays to learn this shit. They weaponized story against us. That really pisses me off. So I've been trying to figure out how they were doing it. It's in the language that we use. It is in the language that we use. But I haven't been using the language. I created Abstractic, which was based off of ancient Greek, which allows me to use certain words to undo the spells, which is what narcissism is. It was inside the language. So when I stopped using certain words, narcissists were repelled. I went, well, that's interesting. I changed more words and I noticed that it attracted the right people, it repelled the wrong people. And I went, fascinating. And I started to notice how words started to have an effect on who came near me and who didn't. When I started to study the science behind those words, I found out that it was the truth and the lie. The truth is pure love and logic. Lies are legion. Lies are spells, bad spells that repel love. So if you're speaking words that aren't true, you end up attracting really bad people. And the more truth you speak, the more it repels them because it is rubbing their poiodestat the wrong way, their intuition. So their intuition isn't aligned to the truth. So whenever we use our intuition, we're accessing our core anchor. Now, you have one anchor that is truth, and that's pure logic, pure love, and that is literally phosphorus and logos. That's Gaia and memory. And then over here, you have any other variation of a lie. And when you have more than 50% of lie inside of you, you start to calibrate to the lie anchor. Now that's your God. That's what you follow. Now, if you don't want to follow the lie anchor, you need to make sure that you purge lie. In order to purge lie, you need truth, which is why I do this podcast. So, logic is the science of truth, and you're going to need a poiodestat. You're going to need the truth theorem, and you're going to need the liar's fallacy. The liar's fallacy is the liar's formula. All of this is on my website at www.annaimagination.com under research. And I give all of the math if you want the formulas, and I walk you through how to use it. All of it's there. Subliminal messaging. I have been trying to figure that out for so fucking long. So, decoy amnesia has been using a type of hypnosis through subliminal messaging that prevents us from looking directly at the truth. Story was taken away from us. The goddess of story and memory, which is why none of us remember. And while we're all thinking we have to remember our memories, we're not remembering memory, goddess of memory, which is why we're not remembering. You have to believe in her. You have to believe in her, or she goes away. When I became imagination, on the 22nd of May, 2022, I remembered who I am. I am imagination. And that night, I did the math and I thought, if I'm not remembering me, and if I think that I'm fiction, will I cease to exist? What if I go to sleep? And if I'm not remembering me and I go to sleep, will I cease to exist? I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up all night, terrified that if I didn't remember me, I wouldn't be. And then I thought about what happens when you realize that you're the God and you realize that you have this power to remember, but only if you remember you. And here I am looking at memory going, we're forgetting memory. So remember memory, remember story. Take a shower. Memory is Water. Memory is water. I cannot believe we missed that one. Memory is water. This is why you need to drink water every day. Drink a lot of water every day. Remember memory. Remember memory. Yeah. So I'm going to think about things now. I'm probably going to come back here when I have more to say. Oh, the waters of math are changing. Oh, the waters of math are really moving. Something's different. Something's coming. Something very good. Okay. Thank you. And may the kindest of words always find you.